The road to WrestleMania is upon us. That's right. The Royal Rumble is this weekend, and we've got all of it covered for you on this edition of the Pipe Bomb Wrestling Podcast. Let's not waste any more time. Bomb drops now.
What's up, all of you friendly, nice, amazing people?
Oh, hi, everyone. We love you so much.
You guys are the best.
It's TSF.
Was it real though?
100 not.
Oh my god.
And you're listening to the Pipe Bomb Wrestling Podcast, baby.
Hello and welcome to this edition of the Pipe Bomb Wrestling Podcast, a show that is for the fans, by the fans. I'm your phenomenal host, Mr. Podcasting Chris Belcher. Joining me as always is the young buck, Mr. Andy York. And Andy, we are 24-ish hours away from your favorite pay-per-view of the year.
My favorite pay-per-view of the year. I literally feels like Christmas Eve right now because I'm just so excited for tomorrow night for two reasons. One, for the Rumble, two, watch Kentucky beat Kansas. But you know, we'll talk about Kentucky a little bit more in the AEW section. But
that's right.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Honestly, the Rumble is I've said it multiple times, my favorite pay-per-view of the year. After last year being such a disappointment, in my opinion, the Rumble last year was the worst pay-per-view of the year. I'm hoping this one is like, come on now, we got to have a good Rumble. If the Rumble is good, then WrestleMania, the build to WrestleMania feels a lot smoother, and WrestleMania feels a lot smoother at times. So I'm excited for this one.
Not to go down too far of a rabbit hole here, but that was one of the biggest disappointing things about the pandemic in 2020 is because the 2020 Rumble was
amazing,
so good.
Especially the men's match, is one of my favorite like Royal Rumble matches of all time. It literally made Drew McIntyre the star he is.
Yeah.
And so the fact that we got that such big of a build, we were heading into WrestleMania hot and heavy, and then the pandemic happened, and you know, Drew still got his moment. It just
was weird.
It was weird, yeah,
for sure. So all that to say, WrestleMania is predicated on what happens tomorrow night. Like tomorrow night is huge. We've got all of your coverage for you right here as we preview the show. We're going to do a fun pro wrestling scorecard. Shout out to those guys. We're going to hit that in just a little bit. And then make sure that you are tuned in. Breaking news right now, and we're going to tweet this out later. Sports Wire Radio on their radio station and on their social media, because we're going to be live there with Tom and some other special guests tomorrow night as soon as the Rumble goes off the air.
Yeah, and you know, hopefully we have better conversation. Not that the conversation was bad last year.
Right.
Hopefully it's more enjoyable to talk about the Rumble this year. But we always have a great time with Tom. If you missed our basically previewing the Raw we went to, me and Chris were literally inside of Bridgestone Arena, talking, trying to listen and hear at the same time and give our opinions.
And there was a huge thunderstorm coming.
Yeah. So it was a lot of fun, but this one's hopefully hopefully a lot less loud on our part, and we can get through a little smoother. But
we will not be in San Antonio to do the post show.
I almost was. I almost made it happen, but it didn't happen. But
I got a buddy.
One day,
I got a buddy that's going. He was texting me this morning saying all the wrestling shirts that he saw at the airport and everything. So he flew out. So I'm jealous, but we'll be right here in this spot tomorrow night with Tom and the crew over at Sportswire Radio. So make sure you're tuned in for that. Also, make sure you are tuned in to us on our social media at PBW Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to keep up with the latest happenings in our world. Speaking of latest happenings in our world, our new partners over at WrestleBuddy, Andy, we both have articles up on that website live as of today. Yours went up this morning. Mine went up on Wednesday morning. It's a fun time. And of course, what are we talking about? The Royal Rumble.
And it's I'm actually going to have another one hopefully coming out tomorrow. It needs to come out tomorrow morning, because if it comes out later than tomorrow morning, it's useless. But there you go. You know, the article is picking the top 5 most likely to win the men and women's Royal Rumble, and some honorable mentions. So definitely go check that out. And then obviously, you know, favorite moments of the Royal Rumble throughout history. So that it's a fantastic article. Definitely go check that out. But also, little plug as well, if you're on TikTok, go follow our new TikTok account at PBW Podcast on there as well.
There you go, on TikTok. I'll make sure to add that to my notes for next time so that I don't forget. So make sure you check out TikTok. Make sure you go check out WrestleBuddy. Andy and I are going to try to get weekly articles up there. No promises.
At least bi-weekly.
That's right. So we've already been in talks about what we're going to be doing going forward. some basis of what we're doing that's going to bleed over into each pay-per-view. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you go check that out. Support not only us, but our boy Tyler Peters, Alex, all the other writers that are over there on WrestleBuddy. Some great stuff. Go support them. Make sure you're supporting that crew. Make sure you're supporting bodyslam.net. We are exclusively on their YouTube channel. So subscribe there. Support all of their great content as well. Support our show. The best way you can do that is prowrestlingtees.com/PBW podcast. Buy our new PBWF t-shirt, as well as our other t-shirts that are up there. More coming very soon. All right, Andy, let's get into it. Before we hit current stuff, because of course we've talked about the Royal Rumble, we've mentioned AEW in Kentucky. Let's go old school real quick. Old school 101. Andy, what do we got this week?
So this week, let me pull up my notes really quick so that way I can get an accurate description, because I don't want to be yelled at for getting this wrong by people on social media. But
look at that.
Look at that picture. So January 31st, 1999. So basically in a couple of days is like the anniversary of it.
That is correct.
The Radicals make their appearance on Monday Night Raw.
Wow.
And for new school generation kids like myself and some other people that listen to our podcast, I'm sure, obviously I was like 2 years old when this happened, 3 years old when this happened. I'm making you old in 2 episodes back to back.
My goodness.
Obviously for the two dudes in the middle, it's a big deal for them to be
huge
in the WWE. Obviously for Eddie Guerrero and for Chris Benoit, name redacted, whatever they call them. It's a big deal for both of them to be there. But as a group, why was it so important for the Radicals to show up on Monday Night Raw?
This was huge because these guys weren't being used. The only guy that was really being used well in WCW at the time was Chris Benoit.
Yeah.
And he didn't feel like he was being used well anyway. So there was a situation where the championship was vacated. And I don't remember what the situation was. I know they did the finger poke of doom, but I think this was after that. And we may have our date wrong here. This may be 2000, not 99. I could be wrong. Because 99 was the finger poke of doom. I don't remember exactly what happened. Anyway, I think this is 2000. Regardless, they had a vacant World Heavyweight Championship. Sid Vicious and Chris Benoit wrestled for it at Sold Out.
Mm-hmm.
Benoit won. The next night on Nitro, quit and left the title vacant again. So they found a way to do a screw job finish where they showed a camera angle where Sid's foot was under the rope. So they vacated the championship.
Right.
So go figure. But I say all that to say, like, this was the end of WCW. The writing was on the wall at this point. These guys knew it. These were the best wrestlers, four of the best wrestlers in the company for the longest time.
Right.
So for them to finally get the jump and to come to WWE, like Dean Malenko comes from a historic wrestling family.
Yeah.
So does Eddie Guerrero, of course. Perry Saturn, a long history in ECW with the Eliminators.
Yeah.
Chris Benoit, you can't say enough about him. But these guys coming in, you know, Perry Saturn and Dean Malenko were sort of looked at as sort of the big stars, while Benoit and Eddie were the workhorses.
Right.
But when they got in, you know, Benoit and Eddie just obviously took over.
Yeah.
Malenko had a little bit of a run with the lightweight championship. Perry Saturn kind of got lost in the shuffle, and injuries, I think, caught up with him, and substance abuse and that kind of thing. But Benoit and Eddie, obviously they were the stars, but this is the anniversary of their debut. They got out of their contracts. There was no non-compete.
Yep.
They showed up in WWE less than 2 weeks later.
Yeah. And I think, you know, you brought up an interesting point on Malenko. Like he doesn't get brought up a lot, but he was ahead of his time in the ring as well. Like that's kind of like the theme, I think, of, because I didn't watch a lot of Perry Saturn. Like I'm not entirely sure about him, but especially for those three, like they're the whole premise, not the whole premise, but like part of what was so interesting about them, especially looking back at it now, they were incredibly ahead of their time.
Yes, they were.
I mean, Eddie Guerrero, 97, had those ridiculous matches with Rey Mysterio.
Yep.
Then you look forward, and, you know, Benoit has amazing matches with Triple H. He has that triple threat match that was just fantastic as well. So, you know, those three guys really took, those three guys were integral, but Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit really played, I think, a bigger role than people realized they would play when they first showed up.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And Dean Malenko, I think one of the reasons he always gets knocked is because he didn't have mic skills.
Yeah.
He seemingly didn't have personality to his character.
Yeah.
But in WCW, that's why he was called the Iceman.
Yeah.
Like that's what he was.
Yeah.
He didn't need the personality.
Right.
He was never given that opportunity. So, but an integral part, I think injuries caught up with him as well. He just sort of lost his place. But Benoit and Eddie, the 2 stars that came out of this happened this date. I want to say 2000. So 23 years ago, this coming week, Benoit and Eddie, just a crazy jump at a time where guys were still jumping back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah. And, it's crazy because if you ask a lot of current day wrestlers who their favorite wrestler of all time is, a lot of them say Eddie Guerrero
or Chris Benoit.
Or Chris Benoit.
Yep.
I mean, obviously you think of like Sasha Banks, who has modeled a lot of her offense after Eddie Guerrero.
Yep.
And you have, obviously Dominic Mysterio, who could or could not be Eddie's son. We don't know still. But like you have that whole storyline. You have a lot of people that just looked up to Eddie and Chris Benoit, obviously both passing in such tragic circumstances.
Yep.
And obviously I think people used to knock WWE for it, and now we fully understand why they've kind of distanced themselves from Chris Benoit and his legacy and everything else. But I mean, obviously, like this time of year as well, like Chris Benoit had one of the best Royal Rumble performances of all time as well, and it's hard not to talk about him during this time. Or when you talk about underdogs main eventing WrestleMania and winning, both of these guys are right up there.
They both won their first championship that night.
Yeah,
together.
The final shot was them celebrating in the ring, confetti flying, holding up the championships.
Which is so sad because we can't relive that. But that triple threat match is probably one of my favorite WrestleMania main events ever.
Yeah.
And then you think back too, you talk about Royal Rumble performances. I think it was Royal Rumble 2001. There's a ladder match between Benoit and Jericho for the Intercontinental title. Oh my gosh.
Well, even 2006, Rey Mysterio was doing the Rumble for Eddie, and Rey put on one of the best Rumble performances of all time as well. So just the legacy that Eddie, more than Chris, obviously for reasons, but the legacy that Eddie Guerrero left behind is amazing.
Yep.
Absolutely amazing.
It really is. So what an impact these guys had on the business. Dare to say that their legacies wouldn't be nearly as celebrated and as important if this moment right here didn't happen.
Absolutely.
If they go down with the ship in WCW, they probably go to Japan. You'll probably see them in Ring of Honor or whatever.
Which would be cool, but
would have been wild. That's true. Would have been wild, but here they are in WWE. So on this day, 23 years ago, I believe, these guys debuted not on this day, this coming week, January 31st, was the debut of these guys in WWE. All right, we mentioned AEW. Let's hit it real quick. But guys, we do have a lot to talk about with the Royal Rumble. We want to dedicate as much of the show as possible to Andy's favorite pay-per-view. So we do want to go through AEW real quick. Man, the TNT Championship, we talked a little bit about it last week, about how the story they're doing with Darby and how it is what it is, kind of whatever. This was a great match. But what impressed me the most is I know that Buddy Matthews is a big dude, but man, he is a big dude.
He's bulked up a lot, and
holy cow.
It reminds me of the same transformation that Jon Moxley had when he went out with injury in WWE. Then he came back. When he came back, he was jacked. I mean, he was jacked.
Huge.
This is kind of the same way. I think people forget how good Buddy Matthews is in the ring. Like first off, he carried the cruiserweight division in WWE for over a year.
He did. You're right.
And then he goes and puts on one of the best SmackDown matches of the year with Roman Reigns a couple years later.
Yep.
And then he joined Seth Rollins in that whole discipleship thing, which was absolutely fascinating during the pandemic.
Yep.
And now he's with the House of Black, which is a perfect fit. And people just forget how good he is in the ring. So I'm glad he got this moment to kind of remind everyone that he's not just a character. Dude can go. Like the dude can absolutely go.
Dude can go for sure. Putting him in there with Darby, and Darby just taking the punishment that Darby takes. When we find out after the match that Samoa Joe's coming back for that title
next week.
What do you think? What's an early prediction for that?
Probably Darby retains. I don't really know though, because like I'm fine with. I don't think the TNT Championship really needs to be hot potatoed around.
Sure,
because I don't think they've really done that.
Right.
They haven't really hot potatoed a lot. So this may be the first time they do it. I don't see Samoa Joe beating him for that title. I think Darby holding the title is really interesting right now. Until we get somebody like a Miro or something. Now, I wouldn't be shocked because we haven't seen him in a long time if Wardlow doesn't come back and get involved in this or cost Joe after the match or during the match or whatever.
So I was gonna say, like, other than Joe taking the title back, which I agree shouldn't happen,
right?
What's the point in them bringing this rematch up so quickly? That was just 3 weeks ago.
Probably just to bring Wardlow back and probably to build to Revolution for Wardlow and Joe.
Yeah. Speaking of building to Revolution, we don't have a graphic for this, but speaking of building to Revolution, looks like Adam Cole's first match back is going. We don't know who it's going to be. No, but judging by that video package last week, it looks like he's going to be back in the ring at Revolution.
And bandana Adam Cole is back, which is a dangerous Adam Cole. So you better watch. Whoever's on that AEW roster better watch out. I don't know who's his first opponent is going to be though.
I don't know
because he's a babyface now.
Right.
So like I'm trying to think of heel opponents that he could face.
Malachi.
See, but I think they're going after the trios.
Well, yeah, but I'm just thinking of big heel guys. Samoa Joe would be great.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Obviously not going after MJF.
No.
Maybe Powerhouse Hobbs.
Yeah, but it's sort of a letdown at this point.
Ethan Page.
Ethan Page would be okay.
Jericho.
Now that's one we need.
I think we could do Jericho and Cole because we haven't seen that yet.
Nope, we have not. We need to see it. Jericho's about to go on tour though, so I don't know what his involvement's going to be.
It's true.
I think that tour starts after Revolution.
So that could be the way they write him off TV.
Yep,
is through that.
I think that's right. Don't hold me to that though. All right, let's move on to Bryan Danielson. And you mentioned Kentucky earlier.
Beautiful locker room.
Beautiful locker.
Beautiful.
Except that checkerboard.
That's fine. That's fine. The blue is beautiful though.
Yeah, it's great. Dynamite was in Lexington, Kentucky. If you guys didn't know that already, I spoke to people who were there. Very nice crowd. Great reception.
Yeah.
Tony Khan's already said they're going to come back.
Yeah. It looked like it was pretty full.
Yeah.
Like it looked.
I heard probably 90% of the lower bowl was full. They had the top draped off. I don't know what the second level. I guess there's only 2 levels in Rub.
Yeah.
So they had the top draped off. So 90% full.
Which, I mean, it was a good crowd.
Yep.
It looked really good. I love the new setup. Like, I love the new setup on the stage and the crowd.
I tell you what looks better. I mean, yes, I agree with you. And it's growing on me.
Mm-hmm.
It's becoming more normal. But what I love is them changing the colors of the ring skirts.
Yes.
And the barricade stuff. That pops to me.
Yeah.
It looks great.
It looks fantastic. And, you know, going back to Bryan Danielson, this match with Brian Cage was was as good as we thought it was going to be, and he got the crap beat out of him, which, you know, is the whole story that we're building to with this. But it's set up for a match next week that don't be shocked if it's not the best AEW match of the year on TV between Bryan Danielson and Timothy Thatcher. They are going to beat the crap out of each other.
It's going to be wild. It for sure is going to be wild.
Because if you haven't seen Timothy Thatcher, go check out the fight pit he had with Riddle, I think. And they beat the crap out of each other. So definitely go check that out.
It did. It took a while for Thatcher to really find his place when he was in NXT. But once he did, he really got rolling. And then it was like the rug got pulled out from under him once he finally found his spot.
I think they were just basically like, go out there and just beat the crap out of people and everybody will love you. And he was like, okay. He is. I've seen this on Twitter and I completely agree. He's the one guy that when you see him, you're like, oh, that's definitely like a British wrestler.
Sure.
And then you hear him talking like, oh, he's not British at all. What the heck?
That's very true. So it'll be Bryan and Timothy Thatcher next week. A very anticipated matchup. But going back to the point about Brian Cage reminded people last week of how good he really is.
Yeah.
Like that dude can go out for the life of me.
Yeah.
The only thing I can come up with that AEW is not pushing him is because they have Wardlow.
Probably.
That is the only thing I can come up with. Otherwise, Cage can do all the moves.
Yeah.
He's got all the stuff. He's got a decent promo, but he was better when you had Taz with him speaking for him.
Yeah.
You know, that was a perfect match.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I don't know much about the other guy that's with him now because I haven't watched the Ring of Honor stuff that they have done.
Right.
But Brian Cage, He's about to be a free agent pretty soon. So we'll see what happens.
I think it'll be interesting because I'm not sure if he's a deadlock for WWE yet.
He's not. I
think he resigns.
I think he might go back to Impact.
Maybe I could see that. And the thing is, like, I get not wanting to push him and Wardlow at the same time.
Sure.
Because you want to push one big man at the same time. And if you want to, in my opinion, if you're going to push one of the two big men, Wardlow has it all.
Probably has the bigger upside.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
And so, plus he's younger and he's got more time left in him in the ring.
Brian's been injured.
Yeah. So, like, I get wanting to push Wardlow. Which I think is part of the reason why they probably don't push Miro at the same time.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But I think no matter where Brian Cage goes, I mean, just the thought of Brian Cage versus Brock Lesnar. Brian Cage versus Walter would be.
Brian Cage versus Braun Strowman.
See, that one doesn't excite me as much because I'm not a huge Braun fan.
I know. I'm not either, but put those two big dudes in the ring together. Like, it would be. But here's the thing. Both of those are very athletic dudes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And can surprise people.
Brian Cage versus Drew McIntyre would be another
now
one that would
one.
Tear the house down.
Cage and Sheamus.
They just beat the crap out of each other. I need that.
Great. Listen, I have been shoulder to shoulder with Brian Cage, and the dude is
big on TV.
Dude is everything he looks on TV.
Yeah.
Like, in no doubt.
Yeah.
Case closed. I've watched him wrestle up close in person. Dude is everything that he portrays on television, for sure.
Absolutely.
Hope that guy gets a big spotlight at some point. Speaking of big spotlights, there were no bigger spotlight this week on AEW than on the Briscoe family. Finally, Tony Khan I'm not saying he didn't ever go to bat for his wrestlers,
right?
But he goes to bat for the Briscoes with Warner, and Mark Briscoe gets to wrestle in the main event against Jay Lethal. What a match.
Yeah.
What a moment.
Yeah. People give Tony Khan a lot of crap for a lot of things, and
I'm included.
Rightfully so most of the time. One thing about him, and especially in this case, the reports are that he pushed and he kept pushing for this.
Yep.
There's a lot that we can dive into this. We're not going to dive into it.
Sure.
A lot of it. But what follows AEW, the show that follows AEW, if you're going to air that, then everything that you air kind of before, or all these problems you have with the Briscoes that they'd done like 20 years ago, is pointless.
And have repeatedly apologized for, and repeatedly gone out of their way to make better, to learn from, and all of those things.
Exactly. So I'm glad Tony Khan was able to do this. They played a tribute earlier in the night to Jay Briscoe. I was not ready for. I'm not afraid to admit I had tears in my eyes watching it.
It was insane.
It was
great.
Very emotional.
Yep.
We get to this match, and before Mark Briscoe even comes out, Jay Lethal's in tears. And I'm like, this is I don't. And
he's wearing the Jay Briscoe shirt.
And like, I don't even know how Mark Briscoe was able to do this. It's very impressive, but again, that's the only way that not the only way, but that's the best way they could celebrate his brother's life. Is for him to be in the ring.
I read somewhere, I don't remember what the source is, so forgive me. I read somewhere that somebody spoke to Mark Briscoe right 2 days after Jay passed, maybe. And he was just as upbeat and as Mark Briscoe as he could be.
Yeah.
And the person was saying, like, it's not a testament that he doesn't care that his brother passed away, because obviously he's grieving.
Right.
But the way he was grieving was, this is what Jay would want us to do.
Yeah.
This is what we're able to do to carry on his name, our family's name, and no better way to do it, like you said, than in the ring.
It kind of reminds me a lot of when Jim the Anvil died.
Yep.
And WWE put him in that storyline with Natty and Ruby.
Yep.
And people were upset about it. And Natty came out and said, this is what my dad would have wanted.
Yep.
Like, my dad would have wanted to be a part of the storyline. So this is the best way that they could celebrate his life. I love these moments in wrestling. This is one of those moments that the real world slipped into professional wrestling and brought us kind of back to reality. But seeing everybody on that stage that had a history with the Briscoes and celebrating and hugging Mark and listening to Mark talk to his brother through the camera after the match was over, like, all of it was just absolutely amazing. And then they go out there and put on a fantastic match.
It was great.
Like a fantastic match. So it's a shame we never got to see the Briscoes as a tag team in AEW.
If you're looking on our screen right now for what's up here, look at this. So you were talking about how the real world and the wrestling world come together as this one emotional moment. Look right here on the right side. You got two big time heels in the company right there. That's Samoa Joe and that's Brody King.
Yeah.
Right there.
Both who have a long history with the Briscoes.
Right. But those are two heels right there that you don't see that kind of stuff happen all the time.
Jay Lethal is a huge heel.
Yeah, absolutely.
They hugged after this match. Like, this is one of those where
Jay Lethal came out and wrestled on Rampage not very long after this and was Jay Lethal.
Yeah. This was one of those moments where we didn't need the kayfabe.
Right.
We needed the real people out there doing that moment. And it was beautifully done. Getting kind of emotional just kind of talking about it and thinking about it, but it was handled very, very well by everybody. So I'm so happy they got this moment. Apparently they've got it clear that Mark Briscoe can now just can continue to appear on AEW, which is very interesting and very exciting for that as well.
I'll be interested to see what they do with the tag titles.
That's what got me when he came out holding both titles and put them both in the air. That's the moment I completely broke.
Yeah. I wonder what they'll do with it. Obviously, there's no good way to strip him of the titles. I don't know that you want him to find another partner. Maybe you do. Maybe I don't know.
Honestly, I think the best way to handle it is retire those titles.
No Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions?
No, I think you do Ring of Honor, but specifically those titles.
Oh,
those are the Briscoe titles. You retire those. Maybe you call them something new.
Yep.
And I don't know what you could call them, but you can make the kind of like they made Brody Lee the lifetime TNT champion.
Yep, you could do
make the Briscoes the lifetime tag team champions because they said on commentary they won those tag titles 13 times.
Yep.
There's no tag team wrestling in ROH is the Briscoes.
Right.
So
for sure. All right. Again, as we said a couple weeks ago when he passed away, there's no good way to transition out of this other than just transition out of it. Thank you for joining us. Hope you guys are digging what we're doing here. Give us a follow on social media at PBW Podcast. If you're just now joining us, this is the Pipe Bomb Wrestling Podcast, a show that is for the fans, by the fans. That's Andy York. My name's Chris Belcher. Thank you for hanging out with us each and every Friday on our current product show. Make sure you're tuned into our other feed, PBWF, Pipe Bomb Wrestling Federation, our fantasy booking show every Tuesday. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you find your podcast on that feed and on this feed. We are available wherever you find your podcast and on the Body Slam YouTube channel and very, very, very frequently on Sports Wire Radio. So subscribe to those guys. Follow them. Speaking of Sports Wire Radio, we are going to be live on Sports Wire Radio tomorrow night after the Royal Rumble. Andy, myself, Tom, and a bunch of special guests. We are going to recap what we hope to be an incredible Royal Rumble tomorrow night. So right back here, make sure that you check it out. We'll share it on our social media and all that kind of stuff. Let's move to WWE, man. Let's talk about the bloodline, the storyline that we all have just been enamored with for so long. Before we get to the Rumble, we got to recap what happened on Raw 30 and on SmackDown. SmackDown, we had the contract signing. Raw, we had the court session, the Sami Zayn on trial, and man, as if the storytelling couldn't get any better, they find a way to step it up again.
It was ridiculous. Like, I didn't know what, honestly, the thing I was expecting from this is the turn on Sami. And when Paul Heyman was doing his thing and the fact that it was in front of the Philly crowd and he brought up ECW, the thing that got me is when he said, my tribal chief, the ECW is dead. And I wish the same for Sami Zayn. I was like, golly, Paul. That the whole thing was just fantastic. My favorite part of this though is Roman Reigns' meltdown.
Yes.
Like Roman Reigns freaking out and yelling at Sami and then just screaming solo, not even telling him to do anything, just scream solo. And then Paul Heyman, like, oh my God, and like backing, like everything about it was done fantastic. And then Jay to be the one to make the save.
It had to be Jay.
Oh my gosh, it was perfect.
It had to be Jay.
Perfect.
The real emotion that was on the face and in the eyes of Jay and Sami Zayn through this whole
Sami
thing.
looked like he was in tears at almost in tears at one point. And I was like, this is fantastic.
It was so good. Like this is another point, and I'm not in any way, shape, or form comparing this to what we just talked about with the Briscoes, but you have to think in this situation, what was real and what was kayfabe.
Yeah.
Because a storyline that has been going on this long with this many layers, like there's some emotion in this. You know what I mean? Like Roman, they talked about it on the heels. Was it? It's not heels. Evil. That's it. On the evil specials, like to do what he did, you had to go to a place, and like it's insane.
Katie, my wife, said it perfectly when she saw this segment. She said it was honestly like a dad punishing his kids.
Yeah, it was
like losing his cool for a second and just yelling. Like, that's exactly what it was in that moment. Was him just being frustrated at the gall of Sami Zayn, not even to defend himself, and just freaking out and losing it. And then Jay even had emotion in his promo.
Yeah,
talking about
he did.
This dude has taking a bullet for me, taking a bullet for you, taking a bullet for all the bloodline. Like, he has done everything that we've asked him to do and more. So the whole thing was just absolutely perfect.
It was amazing. And before we move, a lot of rumors floating around about why this got changed.
Yeah.
A lot of people saying, well, Rock couldn't show up, so they couldn't do the acknowledgement ceremony. No, it wasn't Rock that couldn't show up. It was Alpha, Sika, and Rikishi that couldn't show up.
Which are three, kind of major players in the bloodline.
They're the ones. Like, other than those three and the people we saw in the ring, who else were you going to get?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those three couldn't make it. So they had to make a change.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know what they were going to do with that acknowledgement ceremony, but we couldn't have asked for anything better than what we got, man.
Yeah. It
could not have asked for anything better.
Every minute detail from this was perfect.
Perfect.
Like they handled everything perfect. It's probably my second favorite Bloodline segment that they've done.
The first one was the Honorary Uso t-shirt.
No, my first one is when Jey Uso said, "I don't care what the tribal chief has to say."
Yeah,
and they did the zoom in on Roman's face. Like, the production on that was just perfect.
Isn't was that the Honorary Uso one too? Wasn't that the same one?
That was the Honorary Uso one was where Roman told him to take the t-shirt off.
Yeah, but I thought it was all the same one. Oh, okay.
No, that was like 2 SmackDowns later, I think. It was before. Okay. It was right before War Games.
Okay, I got you. Regardless.
Yeah.
These guys are putting together masterful television.
Yeah.
Just masterful television. It's amazing. I'm going to be really sad when this ends. Whenever it does, I'm going to be sad.
And we'll talk. We're going to talk about this a lot in the Rumble.
Yes,
because this could go either fantastic or horrible.
Yep.
Really quickly, which is the beauty of the Royal Rumble.
Yep.
But the payoff for this has to be worth what we're going through.
Yeah.
And there's only like 2 options for the payoff for this. Mm-hmm. So they have to kind of decide which option they're going to go. And all I'm going to say is, if he's not winning the Rumble, keep him out of the Rumble.
Yep, I agree.
Absolutely keep him out of the Rumble.
Well, I think, and I was going to allude to it here in just a second. Great segue, by the way. I think he is out of the Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the reason is because Roman said, I don't want to see you till the Rumble.
Yeah.
So, or until Saturday.
Test. Yep.
Till he gives his final test. So that final test is either go win the Rumble.
Yeah.
So that nobody else has to face me.
Yeah.
Or you have to do something to Kevin.
I think they may do a special guest referee and Sami be the special guest referee.
Interesting. Okay.
Which, kind of going back to the contract signing, there's a lot of speculation about what Kevin signed because there's only 3 people that touched that contract. It was Paul Heyman, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn. And so maybe Kevin signed it himself. Maybe he signed Sami's name. Maybe he signed Sami's name in like a referee spot if they do a referee spot or whatever the case is.
Yep.
I think they're going to keep him out of the Rumble because if they don't, it's going to be a Daniel Bryan situation all over again.
Well,
if he's in the, I'll say this: if he's in the Rumble, the fans are only going to want to see him win the Rumble.
I see that, and I get it, and I respect that. I think there's a way they can do it, and it still be okay. It just has to be done the right way.
It just depends on how he's eliminated and who eliminates him.
Right.
Like, I don't think Cody cannot be the one to eliminate him.
No, they won't do that. I don't think.
Honestly, I think the Bloodline need to be the one to come in and eliminate him.
See, here's the thing. I've been saying this all along, and I'm going to keep saying it. I don't want to sound like quote unquote know it all. But I'm going to say this anyway. When this segment happened on Monday, I knew there was no turn. Yeah. And the reason
it's too obvious.
It's too obvious. Yep. The turn is going to happen like that.
Yep.
When it happens, there's not going to be a build.
Nope.
There's not going to be anything. So that makes me think, I don't think it's going to be in the Rumble. It's just going to come out of nowhere. Yeah. Somewhere, and it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think it could happen during the match, like during Kevin Owens Roman Reigns match.
Not during the Rumble match.
No. I think it could absolutely happen. Or I think it could happen. Sammy could do something to screw something up in that match, gets put in the Rumble, and then it happens.
There you go. You can do that.
Or he's supposed to be in the Rumble and the Bloodline beat him down, and then he's not able to be in the Rumble, and then the Rock's music hits. Because let's replace Sami Zayn with the Rock, because that people would love that.
Hey,
I don't think that would go very well, but
it'll be fine.
All I'm saying is you have to handle this a lot better than the 2015 Rumble was handled.
Well, see, I know people are behind Sammy. I know they are.
Yeah.
I know people are excited about Cody.
Yeah.
And I don't know that there was anybody in 2015 that they were as excited about as Daniel Bryan. So I'm not saying that Cody can replace Sammy.
Right.
But I think the excitement of Cody, plus if you bring Rock in or something like that, I really think it can not make people forget about it, but it will alleviate some of that.
There's not a Roman Reigns polarizing figure where everybody's against.
Exactly.
In this moment.
Exactly.
And somebody that it would be different if Cody Rhodes was getting the same reactions Roman was getting.
Right.
And Sammy was in the Rumble, because Sammy is getting the same. Sammy is getting the same exact reaction that Daniel Bryan got.
Absolutely, he is. No doubt.
So like that's probably the only thing going for them. This is going to sound really weird. I think the best thing for Cody heading into this Rumble was his injury.
For sure.
I think if he didn't get injured, we may be getting a little tired of Cody at this point.
Well,
depending on how they booked him.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we were starting to cut the same promos week after week about winning the title for his dad and crying about it and blah blah blah. Like we only give you that promo a couple of times before we're like, all right, let's move on a little bit. So I think I'm not happy he got injured. I'm not saying that, but I think this could be the best way for him to stay as hot as he was, come into the Rumble, probably even get a little hotter to elevate him even more to WrestleMania.
All right, let's move on. No, let's not move on, because I want to say quickly that Roman saying he didn't want to see Sammy until Saturday, whatever. But then Sammy stepping in for Jimmy, and the tag titles, that place freaking exploded when they hit the 1D. It was wild.
There were at least 4, if not 5, false finishes in that match where I was like, Judgment Day 1. Like this is where the turn starts to happen.
Now I say this. I said that I didn't think the court session was going to be the turn.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I didn't think that was going to happen. That's how it started.
When he,
especially because it was Jay, the one that saved him, and then if he would have been the one to cost Jay,
Sammy took what, a frog splash, kicked out like 2.999. He's been hanging out with Roman, you can tell.
Yep,
he took a 619, didn't he?
I don't remember.
He took like 3 finishers and kept kicking out, and then Jay took a finisher and he kicked out,
right?
And then Damian Priest took a finisher and he kicked out, and so I was just like, what is like. This turned into a fantastic match out of nowhere.
Yep.
That like the Philly crowd was into the trial segment. They were dead silent for like the first half of this tag match, and once Sammy got added to that tag match, the crowd was back in it.
It was wild,
and they were on every single pinfall.
But it was also like the match was still good with Jimmy in it.
Yeah.
Like, it was still a really good match.
Just the crowd was like sitting on their hands. It seemed like.
Well,
after what you just saw, there's no commercial break. You're heading right into it. But that's just, honestly, that goes to show how over Sami Zayn is with the fans. That as soon as he's entered, it's like, oh, this is a new match. We're fired up again.
Yep. You know who else is over and is still over?
Ridiculously amount.
The freaking Undertaker.
Yes, he is
still over. Especially when we think we're getting Dead Man Undertaker. And we get Biker Taker on Raw 30.
Oh my gosh.
Holy cow.
I popped. I literally jumped out of my seat when I heard the song start playing. I was like, oh my gosh. We haven't seen him since like what, 2003?
Biker Taker. I mean, we saw a little bit of Biker Taker in the AJ feud,
but it wasn't like the persona
but it wasn't
of
full on Biker.
Yeah,
for sure.
That was like Mark Calloway versus AJ Styles.
Right. Yeah. And we saw Biker Taker. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
I will say this. This moment between Bray and Taker we'll talk about.
Yes, I'm getting there.
We got to talk about LA Knight.
Dude.
This is the first, and this is not a knock against Bray Wyatt because everybody knows how much I absolutely love Bray Wyatt. LA Knight is the first person since Daniel Bryan to go into a feud with Bray Wyatt and come out looking stronger.
Well, it's not over yet.
It's not over yet. The match could change that. But the promos that this dude cuts ticks me off even more that he was a part of the Max and Mel models. Like,
right.
He was built for the main roster. He was built for this type of moment. To be in there with The Undertaker and to do what he did, to say the things he said to Taker, like, I'm as big of an LA Knight fan now as I ever was, and I absolutely love the dude.
Speaking of LA Knight, there's a picture that's floating around on social media today that I sent you earlier this morning.
Yes,
that Adam Pearce posted.
Yes,
it is a picture of Adam Pearce as the NWA champion, and apparently, I didn't know this, he was in a stable.
Yeah,
with Brian Cage.
Yeah,
and LA Knight and Paul Bearer.
Yeah,
did not know that.
It's a weird. This is a weird group.
So weird. But in the picture, LA Knight is bigger and more jacked than Brian Cage.
It was before the steroids kicked in.
No kidding. So shout out to LA Knight. But no, in all seriousness, you hit it on the head.
Yeah.
Like LA Knight is it.
This is how you build up a new star. Now you can't squash him we still don't even know what this pitch black match is.
We're getting there.
But you still have to make him look strong in the ring.
Yep.
But I'll say this, when the dude cuts a promo, there's hardly anybody in the company that is on his level right now.
That's true.
Like, I can't think of more than 5 people that can cut as good of a promo as he cuts.
It's incredible. And he's so it's so effortless. It's like he never
him.
He never stumbles over words. No. He is fluid. He's always there. And you're right. It's him.
Yeah, it's just him. It's him times it's him ramped up.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So we get LA Knight, we get The Undertaker, and then we get Bray Wyatt.
Yes.
And we seemingly get with the choke slam to Sister Abigail, and with this moment, passing of the torch.
Yeah.
Seemingly.
The moment that should have happened at WrestleMania 31, but that's fine. I will say this. There have been a lot of reports that after WrestleMania 31, Taker walked up to Vince, like after the match, Taker walked up to Vince and said, protect him. Like, protect Bray. And, we saw how well Vince did with that. But this was the moment that people have been waiting for.
Yep.
Because, like, obviously he's not The Undertaker.
Nope.
There's never going to be an Undertaker, just like John Cena is not The Rock. But you still have to have that passing of the torch moment of, like, WrestleMania 29, when WrestleMania 28 and 29, when they had those 2 matches, and it basically seemingly like passing the torch from Rock to Cena.
Sure.
In this case, it was the passing of the torch of, like, the spooky character that fans love from The Undertaker to Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt had a cool tweet where he said, this moment right here was worth all the sacrifices and the crap I've been through in my career to get to this moment. And Bray Wyatt, in my opinion, absolutely deserves to have this spot, deserves to have this moment. He has worked hard to get here.
Yep.
And to me, this is one of the coolest moments of the night.
Much like The Undertaker, speaking of moments, we had a bunch of legends on Raw 30, and I thought all of them were used really well this time.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get some crappy things. Obviously, the ones that they don't have big spots for, they threw them in the poker game, which was fine. I mean, the poker game was fun. We saw
DDP showing up was shocking.
That was not on my radar.
But then I was like, oh yeah, Cody's in the company now. He doesn't care about AEW anymore.
Good point. That's true. One of the more underrated appearances, though, in my opinion, was Jerry the King Lawler. And his commentary, making fun of Kevin Patrick for not being able to say TH.
Yeah.
I literally busted out laughing when that happened.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Jerry is acquired taste, I think, especially now. Like,
sure,
old school Jerry was old school Jerry that everybody loved.
Yeah.
Now he's like, okay, Jerry, you've kind of lost a little. Like you're like JR. Like
what? He can't push the envelope like he used to. You know,
no, he cannot, and he still does. Like he still pushes the envelope in the PG version, but
he does that.
Yeah, that whole moment was cool. Obviously, if we're talking about legends, got to talk about DX and
of course.
Kurt Angle. I thought for a second when Kurt Angle walked out there that it was Billy Gunn in an Acclaim T-shirt because it looked like pink at first, and I couldn't tell. I couldn't see like. Yeah, you know, I just saw it. It kind of looked like Billy Gunn in a pink T-shirt, and I was like, Triple H has done it. He's busted open the forbidden door. This is fantastic. It was Kurt Angle, but it was still funny. Like Kurt Angle being a part of that was hilarious.
Kurt Angle has his comedy skills are just incredible.
They are,
and you put him in there with DX,
yeah,
who clearly doesn't care what they say or do.
No.
Triple H
bringing up the booking thing. He's like, "Why y'all looking at me?" But this booking stuff is hard, man. Like that was fantastic.
It was so good. So good, and all of them saying they couldn't wrestle. I'm too old.
That whole segment was amazing, but it also made me so mad.
Yeah,
because like I want to see Triple H versus Walter.
Sure,
I want to see DX versus Imperium. Like that would be fantastic. But my favorite was Road Dogg literally walking out and said, "Oh, you want to? Who am I kidding? I'm not going to fight this big dude," and walk away. And then they said they got in their huddle, they did their thing, and then they went. Kurt said he fights you. Kurt went, "Nope, no, I did not. I'm not doing that. Nope."
Oh, it was so good. Oh my goodness. I was I didn't watch this live. I was laying in bed afterwards watching this on my phone, and I'm just cackling on my phone. And my wife is just looking at me like, what is so dang funny?
Yeah.
And I'm like, Shawn and Triple H, DX. It's funny, it's hilarious.
X-Pac and his shin splints.
That was amazing. All right. So lots of fun legends appearances. Two legends that didn't appear were the Bella twins. A lot of people online freaking out about, the cage match getting cut short and the women not getting time. We don't have to get into all that, but I mean, it is what it is at this point, right? Things have to get cut.
Things have to get cut. Honestly, I think you could have cut some of the DX segment to save some of this.
Yeah.
But I would rather.
I would have cut a segment off of Bianca and Sonya.
Maybe
you could have had, depending on what they're doing with Sonya, you could have had Bianca go in and squash her, and then have the promo.
My thing that always ticks me off when any company does it is when they promote this kind of a big match and then don't follow through with it. Like I get it, a one-on-one match is something, but a steel cage is like, you got to have the match, in my opinion. But I would rather this happen than it just be like a 5-second squash match in a steel cage.
Right.
So if we're building to something bigger down the line, that's great. I thought this was the moment where I was like, oh man, this part sucks. Like this is the worst part of Raw right now because this was the match I was looking forward to the most, and it's not even like I know there were probably people in that arena. Part of the reason why they were there is for that match, and it didn't happen.
Sure, I thought maybe they could just move this to the Rumble, have it at the Rumble.
Yeah,
who knows?
Or just make it the main event. But then obviously, Brock's going to be Brock, which is a spoiler alert. But
exactly,
I don't know. It's a weird situation. It's a hard situation where you have to cut something. I think we could have cut some of the legend stuff for this match if we really wanted to.
Yeah, but I don't think so because like when else are they ever there?
Right.
You know what I mean? They're not going to be there next week or a month later or whatever.
Yeah.
Becky and Bianca, or sorry, not Becky. Becky and Bailey. They're going to be there. We're building to something.
Right. The only thing I will say, though, is we did have a DX segment like a month ago.
So?
Where they celebrated DX. Like, we just
I love Shawn Michaels and Triple H, all right?
No, I get that. But, like...
I know.
We just had DX. You could have had that DX segment and not have it be as long as it was.
Yeah. But that 6-man...
Cut Teddy Long out of it.
That 6-man was great.
The 6-man was great. No, set up the match. Set up that 6-man tag match. Just, I don't think we need, like, Teddy Long segment.
Yeah, well... All right. It is time to go through the Royal Rumble card. We are going to do this via Pro Wrestling Scorecards. We've got our little sheets printed out here. Thank you to Pro Wrestling Scorecards for providing a great fun game and in our both sports guys, as you can tell. So we're going to do this sports style. We're going to go through and pick these categories. It's going to be a lot of fun. We are doing this live. We really other than a couple of things that we have clarified. We have not talked about this. We are legit doing this live. So this is a lot of fun. Shout out to Pro Wrestling Scorecards at PW Scorecards on all your social media. You can play along as well. There's no one behind your computer if you want it. If that doesn't work, sorry, a little pin issue.
There we go.
Shout out to Pro Wrestling Scorecards. If you want to play along, they have an online version. I think you can print out the listen to me,
PBWF. There you go.
There you go. The PDF, I think you can print out the PDF and play along. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we're going to go through this match by match. This is a fun way to, we've talked these matches to death. This is a fun way to do something a little different. All right, let's do it. Let's start with the pitch black match. We talked about it a little bit ago. LA Knight and Bray Wyatt. So the rules of this, if you're not following along, you get points for the winner of the match, the extra categories, and other things. So we'll go through the point totals next week after we find out the results and maybe hash that out a little better. So let's just pick it off the top. Winner of this match, Bray Wyatt and LA Knight pitch black match. Who you got?
Bray. Pretty easily Bray.
I'm going the opposite way.
I'm gonna move this down the floor and I'll be able to move
it. Okay.
Just don't break my computer.
We're doing some issues here. Hang tight. We're moving some things around so we can make this a little more efficient. You can put it up there. Okay, cool. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Bray Wyatt and LA Knight pitch black match. I'm going LA Knight.
Okay.
I'll go the opposite. I'll say LA Knight. And the reason is because there's more questions than answers with Bray if he loses. I don't know how he loses. I don't know what the rules of the match. I don't know any of that.
Right.
I just think that it's better if LA Knight wins.
See, my problem is we have PTSD when Bray Wyatt loses big matches.
We do. That's true.
So I think this is his first one. He can't he cannot lose his first match in.
Okay.
I don't see that happening.
Okay. Well, fall type. Oh my gosh. How does he lose?
Well, is it a pinfall or submission
That's a
situation?
Good question. I don't know.
Like if it's just like a standard match just in the dark.
I'm going to go with my fall type. I'm going to go knockout.
He knocks out Bray.
Somehow, something happens where Bray can't continue the match. I'm not saying medical personnel come out and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Because we don't really know the rules of the match.
Right.
So I'm going to say a knockout.
I'm going to say pinfall.
Okay.
Because I can absolutely see Bray locking in the mandible claw. He passes out. His shoulders down. 1, 2, 3.
Yep. Okay. Match goes over 10 minutes. I think this is a definite yes. That is a yes or no question. So match over 10 minutes. I'm going yes on that one. All right. So here's a fun category for us. Unique weapon types used in the match. And the way you pick this category is plus or minus 1. So we decide how many weapons get used and we get the points if we are over or under within 1. So if I say 5 and they actually use 6, or if they actually use 4, then I'm good.
Okay.
So unique weapon types by number. What do we think?
I don't think there's any weapons used.
Okay.
So well, what is considered used as well? If I throw you into do I have to hit you with it?
I think so.
Okay.
I think you have to, the table has to be used properly, a chair, a kendo stick, a something.
I'll say 1. I'll be safe and say 1.
Okay. I'm going to say 3.
Okay.
Just for the fun of it. Because I don't know what's going to happen here.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know what this match, this one's hard to do because I have no idea what this one is.
And again, we're doing this before SmackDown tonight. So some things about other things, especially later on, could be revealed on SmackDown tonight.
Yeah. Which if they do, we have agreed that we may text each other and be like, oh, I'm definitely changing some of this.
Yeah, we've given each other the freedom to be able to do that. And again, we'll clear that up next week on the show. All right. Yep. Winner of this match drinks Mountain Dew.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Nope.
Did Austin Theory play with Beyblades in the ring after he won? No.
Although we did have a zombie lumberjack match.
It's a pandemic era. That doesn't count.
Sure, I agree. All right. So possible score in that category is 19. So we'll go over that next week. Universal champion. No, let's skip. Let's go Bianca, Alexa first.
Okay.
Bianca and Alexa, Raw Women's Championship. Winner of this match. I'm going Bianca.
Yeah.
I just think that when it's all said and done, Bianca will find a way to win.
Yeah.
Again, like with Bray, it's better if Alexa loses because there's more questions than answers, especially with whatever happens.
Right.
Next category, again, fall type. This one's a pin, I think. Maybe it's a count out. I don't know.
Maybe DQ.
Maybe DQ.
I'm saving that though.
You're saving your DQ. Okay, got it. Match time in minutes, plus or minus 1 minute. So let's say if we pick 10 minutes and it goes 9, we're still good. Okay, remember, let's talk about this. 1, 2, 3, 4. We've only got 5 matches on the card.
There could be one added.
But we're probably going somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 to 4 hours because it is a big 4 pay-per-view.
Right, and your Rumbles are going to go about an hour
each. Yes.
Yeah. I'll say 25 minutes.
Ooh. Okay.
I'll say 25 minutes.
I'm going to go on the shorter side here, and I'm going to say 17 minutes. Weird number. I know.
That's a weird number.
17 minutes. Most near falls in the match, that's Alexa.
Yeah.
And so the clarification on that is most near falls, who gets the most near falls? I'll put that in parentheses. I'll clarify that as we go forward.
Yep.
Final category of this one, Uncle Howdy appears. That is a big yes for me.
I don't know if Uncle Howdy appears or if Bray appears. That's my thing.
Depends on the order of the card.
It does depend on the order of the card. I'll say yes, just to be safe. But
now appear is counted on screen. I don't think he has to show up in flesh for that to count.
Right. So if his little face pops up in a TV back, like if they fight through the arena.
Well, let me also clarify this. Pro Wrestling Scorecards does release the correct results of this at the end.
Yeah.
So we will check it based on that. So if there are questions and clarifications, they are the end all be all because they created this.
Right.
So they're the ones that will be our judge here.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to the Universal Championship. Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens for the 3rd time in a Royal Rumble. Again, same rules, same point totals. A couple more categories on this one. Let's hit it right off the top, man. Winning this match, we got Roman Reigns.
Got Kevin Owens.
Okay. So that leads me to the fall type.
Back-to-back years in a Roman Reigns match at the Royal Rumble and then DQ.
I'm going to go with pin.
Okay. See, if I if Roman wins, I'm not trying to persuade you another way because I want you to lose.
No,
but I could absolutely. I don't think Kevin gets pinned. I think he gets choked out with a guillotine, passes out.
Right. I'm changing to submission, please.
Yeah, I think he gets choked out.
I think you're right. I didn't even think about that. Okay.
Which I think it could be one of those that Roman chokes him out. Like Roman holds it in, Kevin's got the rope, refuses to let go.
Yep.
I think that's exactly how the Seth Rollins match
ended. That is how the Seth Rollins match ended. So. No, Roman beat him with a steel chair, right? No, it was a rope thing, and then Roman beat him with the chair.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. Match time in minutes plus or minus 1. I'm going to go 28.
I'm going to go 36.
Yeah, this one's going to get some time.
Yep. I think this one kicks off.
And this does not count Roman Reigns' entrance. It is bell to bell.
Bell to bell.
All right. So this 5-minute entrance of Roman Reigns does not count. Just saying. Near falls in this match. Holy cow. Plus or minus 1. I'm going with 6.
That's what I was thinking. I'll go 7. If it's 6, I'm good then, right?
Right. If it's 6, you're good. Yep. Finishers. So this is a unique category. So we can either pick 2.5 finishers. Weird. You can pick 2.5, over 2.5, or under 2.5.
Yeah.
1,000% going over.
Yeah, me too. Because I think we're gonna see a spear, a stunner,
and a guillotine,
and a haluva kick.
Now that one doesn't count,
but it's still over because it's 3.
Right.
Unless Kevin does the haluva kick on.
Well, that's
Roman.
true. I was going to say because Sammy is technically not in the match.
Right.
Therefore, it leads to the next point: interference in this match. That's
Absolutely.
a big fat yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Big
now,
one.
If Sammy is in as a special guest referee, if he hits a haluva kick, does that count? I would think so.
I would think that it counts towards your finishers and not towards interference.
Right.
Because that would change this category.
Right.
So again, if that were to happen and Pro Wrestling Scorecards changes this, we will change based on that as well.
Yep.
So, all right. Again, we'll clarify that next week if that happens. All right, here we go. Women's Royal Rumble match. The winner of this one is 10 points. The extras are 3 points. Exact bonus is 2 points. We're going to get to predictions here in just a little bit because we have a whole separate category for unscheduled appearances.
Yep.
So that'll be a lot of fun. But let's pick it off the top, man. Winner of the Women's Royal Rumble. It's first category.
Yeah.
Who's the winner?
I think it's Rhea Ripley.
I do too. We're going to agree on that one.
Yeah, I think it's Rhea.
I don't think anybody else is.
Maybe.
Who else is even close?
Naomi.
No, I don't think she gets
or Becky.
Becky is the other.
Becky's always going to be in the choice if she's not in the championship match.
That's true. That's very true. Okay. So Rhea Ripley, I bet Rhea eliminates Becky at the end.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who has the shortest match time in the Royal Rumble?
Sorry, Shotzi.
Oh, that's a good one.
Sorry, Shotzi.
I'm going to say Dana Brooke.
That was my second choice was Dana.
I'm going Dana Brooke.
Sorry, Dana. Sorry, Shotzi.
All right.
I love you. I'm a big fan of Shotzi, though.
I know.
I'm a big fan.
For sure.
Not Dana, but Shotzi.
Who has the longest match time this year?
I'm going to say
Becky Lynch.
I'm going to say Liv Morgan.
Oh, that's a good one.
I think she does enter at 1, and I think she stays in for
long time.
35, 40 minutes.
I think Becky enters at like 2 or 3. I think maybe Liv and Bailey enter first or something like that, and then Becky comes in at 3.
I could see that.
We get that going.
I could see that.
Who has the most eliminations in the match?
Rhea Ripley.
Yeah,
I think she comes in and just cleans house. Yep. Well, I'm not going to say what I was about to say, but yep. I'll save it for a minute.
Who is the last person eliminated in the match? I'm going to stick with what I literally just said. I'm going Becky Lynch.
I could see that. I could also see Bailey coming in and eliminating Becky.
Yep.
So with that being said, you ready for this one?
Uh-oh.
Chelsea Green
is the last one eliminated.
I think she may come in at 30.
Ooh, okay. Okay. I can see that. All right. Entrant number 1 or 2 in the final 4. Yes or no? So we
has it happened? I think Sasha did it
in the very first one.
Yeah,
and that's it. Because Charlotte won in 20. She was a little later.
She was like 18. Becky won.
Bianca was 3.
Yeah,
and she won.
Becky
was 30.
29.
29. That's right.
Technically, yeah,
that's right. And then
Asuka was 17.
She was
no.
She was in the 20s.
Was 17.
She was in the 20s.
She was like 22, 23, something like that.
And then the last winner was who won last year?
Bianca. No. Ronda. Ronda was 30.
Ronda was 30. That's right. Rhea was number 2 when her and Bianca finished.
Yes.
So I think so. So I think it has happened.
I'm gonna say no this year though.
I'm also going to say no. I think Becky comes in early, but maybe at like 3, 4, 5, something like that.
Yeah.
Entry number of the winner.
I'm gonna say,
so we both have said Rhea Ripley. So where do we think she's coming in?
I'm gonna say 16.
I was leaning that direction. I'm going to say 20.
Yeah.
No, because that's not going to give her enough time to clean house.
Yeah, that's why I was saying 16 because
I'm going to go with 10. And we get plus
first 9 are in the ring.
Yep.
First 7 or 8 in the ring, and then
yep. And she
comes in and just
doesn't
murders
knock
everybody.
them all out because I think Becky's in there at that point. But we get plus or minus 1 on that.
She's going to eliminate like 4 right away,
Yes,
and then she's going to eliminate a couple more throughout the rest of the match.
She is. Only one wrestler in the match at any point. So that means we're saying Ripley cleans house.
So it's like Brock in 2020, just waiting on people.
Yes. Does that happen at any point?
I'm going to say, man, does that count if like people are technically still in the match, but they've rolled to the outside?
No, it means only one wrestler legal in the. So let's say 1 and 2 happen.
Yeah.
Like Roman and Rusev in 16, and Roman chucks Rusev
out,
and he's waiting for
AJ.
So technically, only one person's legal. So
I would say no.
I'm going to say no as well, because I think the only person that would happen to would be Rhea.
Yeah,
and I don't think it's going to happen.
And who would be the big name to come in and
stop her? Exactly.
Beth.
Beth. Yeah, that would be good. Beth. But again, I think Becky comes in early. I don't think that happens. Okay, here we go. Current elimination record broken. That is a yes or no. The elimination record is 8
by Shayna,
which is crazy. Baszler.
I'm going to say yes. I think we're looking at Rhea Ripley eliminating at least 10.
I think you're right. I think
they want to make her look like the killer she is.
The killer. Yep. All right. Longest time record broken. And we looked this up. The longest time in the Women's Royal Rumble is 56 minutes and 52 seconds by Bianca Belair.
Yep.
So yes or no, longest time record.
I'm going to say no.
I'm also going to say no, because I don't think that'll happen. All right. Here is a fun one. Yep. Ready? This is the last category. Current AEW, Impact, Ring of Honor, or New Japan talent enters the Royal Rumble.
I'm going to say yes.
I'm definitely saying yes.
I'm going to say yes.
I don't know who it's going to be.
I have a guess on 2. I have a guess on 2.
You have a guess? Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to say yes. It happens. All right, let's move to the Men's Royal Rumble. Again, winner is 10 points here. Okay. Winner of the Men's Royal Rumble. You got to make a decision right now and stick with it.
I know. I want to put Sammy so bad, but I'm going to put Cody.
Cody Rhodes it is.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes on my end as well.
If I lose this one, I'm not going to be mad at all, though, if it's Sammy.
Yeah, depending on who it is.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, if it's The Rock, again, I'm not going to get mad.
Right.
Who has the shortest match time in the Men's Royal Rumble?
You know what? I'm going to say Dominic.
I'm going to say Akira Tozawa.
Corbin just chucks him up?
Yes.
Yep, I can see that.
Yep, I think that happens.
But I also think Dominic could get eliminated early and throw a fit.
That's very true. Longest time in the Royal Rumble match.
I'm going to go Cody.
I almost went Cody, but I'm going to go Seth Rollins. Who gets the most eliminations?
I'm not putting what they call him, but Walter. Gunther.
Oh, that's a good one. He is confirmed for the match already. I'm going to say Sheamus.
I'm fine with that one, too.
Who is the last person eliminated in the Royal Rumble? Seth Rollins. Yep. It comes down to Cody and Seth.
Yep.
Entrant number 1 or 2 in the final 4.
I say yes.
Yeah, I do too. Yep. For this one, I definitely do. I agree. Entry number of the winner.
You ready for this one?
Now this, yes.
Number 1.
No, I don't think so.
Are you kidding me? Starting off the Rumble with his music.
Oh, man.
Cody goes the whole distance. He's been out for several months, just like Edge was in 2021.
I'm going to say 3.
He's early. He comes out early.
He definitely does.
He comes out early.
I think he does too. I'm going to say 3. Only one wrestler in the match at any point. I'm going to say yes for this one. Actually, no. I'm not going to say yes. I'm going to say no.
I'm going to say no.
I'm going to say no. Elimination record broken, and that record is 13. So yes or no?
I'm gonna say no. Although I would like it if Gunther did beat it. I'm gonna say no.
I'm gonna say no as well. I don't think he will. I don't think Sheamus will. Longest time record broken. Now, caveat to this one. The longest time in the Royal Rumble is 1 hour, 16 minutes, and 5 seconds. That happens to be the greatest Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia, and that was Daniel Bryan.
Right.
Who came in at number 2?
1 or
3?
2. He came in at 1 or 2.
I'm pretty sure he did, yeah. So that was like a 50-man Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
So a little different.
Right.
Longest time record.
I'm gonna say no.
Yeah,
I don't think the Rumble's gonna last that long.
Really? Now I will say this for you: if it's Cody and he comes in at 1, that's the only shot you got to do it.
Yeah, but I still don't think it. I don't think the Rumble's gonna last that long.
Right. All right.
Unless The Rock comes in at 30 and his entrance takes that long, which is very, very realistic.
That's true. Current AEW, Impact, Ring of Honor, or New Japan entrant in the match?
Absolutely.
That's a big yes for me.
Absolutely.
All right, here comes the fun category. All right.
Yeah.
This one is fun because this one is unscheduled appearances.
This is for the whole night too, not just for the
This is for the whole night. This is not just for the Royal Rumble. Okay, so we are going to pick 5 obvious ones. And the reason we're going to pick 5 obvious ones is because they've only announced 7 women in the Women's Royal Rumble. Now, if more get announced tonight and our picks get taken, again, we will revise our picks. Okay, so I'm going to read through the card of who has been announced for the event. Any other person that you list is a legal pick. Okay, so here we go. LA Knight, Bray Wyatt, Kevin Owens, Roman Reigns, Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Bobby Lashley, Karrion Kross, Santos Escobar, Omos. I can't even say his name. Omos.
Almost. You almost got it.
Almost got it. Austin Theory, Sheamus, Seth Rollins, Ricochet, Drew McIntyre, Kofi Kingston, Cody Rhodes, Gunther, Baron Corbin, Rey Mysterio, Braun Strowman, Zelina Vega, Emma, Shayna Baszler, Raquel Rodriguez, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, and Candice LeRae. Those are our participants that have been announced. Anybody else is free game.
You want to go first?
I'll run through a couple here. One of my women that I picked in one of my categories was not listed, so I'm going to go Dana Brooke as an unscheduled appearance. I'm also going to say Shotzi as an unscheduled appearance, and those are a couple of my obvious ones.
I have 4 obvious ones right off the rip.
Okay, go.
So Sequoia.
Okay.
The Usos.
Usos do not count as one.
So I have to say like Jay Uso,
You have
Jimmy
to say
Uso.
Jay and Jimmy, yes.
I'll
Just fine.
I'll say Jay. I'll just say Jay. Sorry, Jimmy.
Hey, Jimmy's technically hurt, quote unquote.
Exactly. So he may not be there. Nikki Cross.
Oh, good one.
Because I think she may not even be in the Rumble, but she may just, be in the background whenever Candice LeRae is in the shot.
Show up or something.
And then I also have Shotzi.
Okay. So I've got Shotzi. I've got Dana Brooke. Another obvious one. Come on, guys. Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
Sami Zayn's not listed here. Of course, Sami Zayn's going to show up.
Yeah.
Becky Lynch is not listed.
Yeah.
So we're going to go with Becky Lynch.
Yep. I went Sammy as my last one. Obvious one.
My last obvious one is Dominic Mysterio.
Okay.
Because he is not listed anywhere.
Makes sense.
All right, so we have 5 obvious ones. Now let's get crazy. Let's do some unscheduled appearances. Let's do people that have not been announced that we think will show up. That would be surprises. My first one I'm going to throw out is Asuka.
That's literally the name I just wrote down as Asuka.
Asuka for sure. We have both seemingly agreed that Miss Chelsea Green
I'll put her.
is going to be on here.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to put Green, you might as well put
her hubby,
Cardona.
Mr. Matt Cardona.
See, I'm going to save some of these too because for our bold predictions.
We're going to do bold predictions here in a little bit. So
I'm not going to go crazy with it.
All right, next. I got 2 spots left on my unscheduled.
I do too.
I'll give you one. Ready? Logan Paul.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm going Logan Paul.
I'll go my last one. I'm gonna say Mickie James.
Oh, good one.
She just beat Jordan Grace for that Impact Wrestling Championship again. She's not retiring, so
there
she
you
could be in the Rumble for the second year in a row.
My last one. I'm gonna go crazy. Naito.
Tetsu Naito? Holy cow, man! If that happens, I hope you're right because I've got some New Japan boys in my bold prediction, but not him.
I'm going Naito.
Tetsu Naito would be. Listen, all I'm saying is if we hear the coin drop and it's Okada, I may flip a table in your house.
Just don't flip my dining room table, please.
I won't.
Okay, good. All right. So there it is. We have them all.
Yep.
We have picked our unscheduled appearances. Let's go through them real quick. Let's clarify who we've got. My unscheduled appearances are Sami Zayn, Dana Brooke, Shotzi, Becky Lynch, Dominic Mysterio, Asuka, Chelsea Green, Matt Cardona, Logan Paul, and Naito.
I have Solo Sikoa, Jey Uso, Nikki Cross, Shotzi, Sami Zayn, Asuka, Chelsea Green, Matt Cardona, Logan Paul, and Mickie James.
All right, so we're gonna go crazy here with our bold predictions. All right, y'all ready for this? This is gonna be wild.
Yeah.
Okay. First thing we're gonna do, Andy. Let's recap.
Okay.
Royal Rumble winners.
Yep.
Women's Royal Rumble.
Rhea Ripley.
Okay. My Women's Royal Rumble, also Rhea Ripley.
Yep.
Men's Royal Rumble.
Cody Rhodes.
Mine is also Cody Rhodes. We have agreed
on
who's going to win the Royal Rumble, but we're not going to agree on bold predictions.
No.
Andy, Women's Royal Rumble. Give me your 5 bold predictions. Who we think just out of the stratosphere is showing up Women's Royal Rumble.
I already said one, Chelsea Green.
Yep.
Is my bold prediction. I'm going to go Lita.
Yep.
I'm going to go Nikki Bella.
Yep.
I'm going to go Brandy Rhodes.
Love that.
And this is my crazy one, AJ Lee.
Good. Okay. My bold predictions for the women, Chelsea Green, which who we said, Asuka, who we have said.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to go there. I'm going to also go with Naomi.
Yeah.
Molly Holly.
Yeah, it's a safe pick.
And Trish Stratus.
Yeah.
Those are my 5.
I could see that.
And now those aren't incredibly bold.
Right.
Yours aren't incredibly bold either, but like with
AJ Lee's kind of
AJ Lee is definitely way out there.
Yeah.
Okay. So not incredibly bold, but with the women, like we've seen a lot of women return over the years. So somebody like AJ Lee is going to be one that's going to shock us.
Yeah.
A Jordan Grace could shock us.
Yeah.
Somebody like that'll blow our minds.
Right.
Yeah. All right. For the men, bold predictions. Who do we think is going to shut? Now, listen, we're not talking about Brock.
No.
We both have a feeling Brock's going to be in the Rumble. We're not going to go that route.
Right.
We think Edge is going to come back, so don't think we're forgetting about Edge.
I'm not even. You might have him on your list.
I don't have Edge on my list.
No, I don't even have The Rock on my list.
I don't have Rock on my list either because we kind of think these guys are coming back.
Yeah.
But bold predictions. Who you got?
Matt Cardona, which you already said.
Yes.
I'm going to go the Great Muta.
Yep.
Nick Aldis.
We are 3 for 3.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Okay, not 3 for 3 anymore.
And Jay White.
Okay.
I think Jay White's the New Japan. Well, Great Move is not really New Japan, but I think Jay White is the New Japan guy that shows up.
Okay, I've got 3 of yours. Man, we're agreeing on everything. Matt Cardona.
Which is never good because we're hardly ever right on these predictions.
Exactly. Matt Cardona.
Yeah.
Nick Aldis, who I think is a lock.
I think he's in the
Final
Final Four.
That dude is showing up.
I think he's in the Final Four.
Great Muta. I think that's a great pick.
Yep.
Naito, who I've already said.
Yep.
And my last one is Pat McAfee.
I didn't even think about Pat.
That boy is in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah. Don't be shocked if Corey Graves is also in the Rumble.
That is 100% true. All right. We agreed on a lot of those things.
Yeah, I know. I feel like we normally agree on the Rumble. Like, I feel like when we get around like a week before the Rumble, we kind of have a clear picture of
what we think's going to happen,
who possibly could win. It's more fun when it's like there are 4 guys that could win.
Look at this graphic. Shinsuke's not in this graphic. No Shinsuke.
He's not.
He's not listed as a scheduled appearance.
He's probably going to be guys in there as well. Like I think Braun Breaker may be in there.
I think Grayson Waller's going to be in there.
Yeah.
I think it's a really,
Apollo.
Yep. I think
Carmelo Hayes is probably going to be the one
that would be a really
be in there
good
and
one.
stay in there for a while.
You got guys like Shelton Benjamin who could be in there. We didn't mention the Street Profits.
Bobby's not in there. Yeah, he is. Never mind. He's right.
There's Bobby.
There's Bobby.
Street Profits.
Yeah.
And then we didn't really talk about legends. We talked about guys who might come out of nowhere. We didn't talk about the legends that might show up.
Yeah. I think Booker T has a really good chance of showing up in this. I think Booker T might show up. Maybe Bully.
You said Austin.
I said Austin.
You said Austin.
Yep.
We mentioned Rock.
Yeah.
Bully, maybe. I agree with that. I thought of it. Think Texas legends. Okay. We're not going to have Mark Henry this time.
Mick Foley
could. Yep.
Sean.
Not going to happen.
Could you imagine?
The place would go bananas if Sean showed up. Don't think it'll happen.
I don't either. JBL.
That would be interesting if he could go. Yep.
But I don't think you will because Corbin's in it.
It's true.
So trying to think Texas legends.
I can't think.
Booker T, I mean, is from Texas.
Booker T's the one.
Yeah.
He's the Texas.
He's
legend.
the Texas guy.
Yep.
Well,
sure.
unless Stone Cold's in it, then Stone Cold's the Texas guy.
Well, that's true.
The Undertaker's technically from Texas too.
Yeah, he technically is. He's technically not showing up.
No, he's not.
No. All right, man. That wraps it up, man. Anything else to add about the Rumble? Again, I know it's your favorite show. We're anticipating it being much better than it was last year.
Yeah.
I
am. This is the most excited I've been for a Rumble in a while. So new regime, new era, new people, a lot of new possibilities. I mean, who would have thought? I was talking about Cody Rhodes winning the Rumble last year. This time last year, I was talking about Cody Rhodes winning the Rumble, Nick Aldis possibly appearing, Jay White possibly appearing, Stone Cold maybe in the Rumble, face Brock Lesnar and set up that WrestleMania match.
Yep.
Calling it now.
Hope so.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
All right, let's run through our picks one more time, really quick. Let's recap them. I've got the Men's Royal Rumble winner Cody Rhodes, Women's Royal Rumble winner Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair over Alexa Bliss by pinfall, Roman Reigns over Kevin Owens by submission, and LA Knight over Bray Wyatt by knockout of some sort.
Yeah.
What you got?
I've got Cody Rhodes winning the Men's Rumble from number 1. I've got Rhea Ripley winning the Women's Rumble. I've got Bianca Belair pinning Alexa Bliss to retain the title. I've got Kevin Owens technically beating Roman Reigns, but it's by disqualification, so he's not really winning. And then Bray Wyatt by pinning LA Knight.
All right. That's going to do it. That's our predictions. Royal Rumble is tomorrow night. Give us some feedback at PBW Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. He's at Andy_PBWP. I'm at Chris Belcher 24. Let us know what you think. Let us know how wrong you think we are so that we can call you out after the Rumble when we're right.
Yeah.
No, we welcome any and all feedback. We enjoy getting called out. Speaking of after the Rumble, live on SportsWire Radio, on their social media, and on the radio station, sportnarium.com/player.
Yep.
We're going to be live with Tom and some other special guests recapping the Rumble. We're on the march to WrestleMania after that. We're going to get a clear pick tomorrow night. We are going to have a clearer, not the clearest, but a clearer picture of WrestleMania.
We're going to know who's at least in one of the 2 main events.
Should know.
Yeah.
It gets wonky sometimes, but we should
at
know.
least one person is going to be in the main event.
I agree.
Also, I'll probably be live tweeting from my Twitter account.
Follow us at Andy_PBWP, at Chris Belcher 24. We're going to be in the same room. We're going to be here, right back here tomorrow night at my house with a bunch of friends. We're going to have a party. It's going to be a lot of fun. So again, follow us on social media. Subscribe wherever you find your podcast. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. See what I did there?
There you go.
So follow us. Keep up with us. We would appreciate it very, very much. For Mr. Andy York, my name is Chris Belcher. Thank you for hanging out with us on this edition of the Pipe Bomb Wrestling Podcast. We will catch you guys down the road.